Okay, then, as you know, we will now have our curator moment. I am going to bring Sevazan, our partner. He studies insurance. He's a colleague that is who's always, Sami Hazan is always happy to help. He has been through several important positions in the market, which gave him a global view of the market. He knows this very well, knows and understands how business is done all over the world, and is always a very valuable help. And since we started doing the curatorship here, I always make the best of using your background in your CV, and it always makes our work better. Sabi, thank you, Heitor, for your kind words. Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor and a pleasure to work with Heitor, Beto, and the team. And we are together this year in a virtual fashion, but always with the same enthusiasm. So let's walk through the panels, right? Okay. For those that do not know our curator work, it's no more than it comes out of an empathy or an understanding of how hard it is to choose what sessions to watch and what to do. And because the international events, the structure, are a little different than how we do things in Brazil. And we always thought that organizing this and trying to make it clearer and give you the opportunity, to our Brazilian participants, the opportunity to understand that better would then make them make the best of the event and make the best use of their time and opportunities. And of course, that in this pandemic time, things have changed, and I was happy to see that you are all having contact with the platform earlier today, and it really surprised me how full of tools and resources the platform is. So I'm going to walk you through the platform, just as a starting point, so that you can make the best use of it. This is a platform, in addition to the meeting rooms, like we're having. They allowed us to have a room of our own for a pre-conference meeting. And I just want to inform you, not everyone knows, but the pre-conference event at ITC started with us, with the Brazilian delegation. They had never done any of that, but we decided, because we always take a significant number of people there. So we found a little spare room in the corner of the event, and then we grew. Our room also grew, because we wanted the speakers to go in and talk exclusively to the Brazilian market, to the Brazilian participants. And the question was, do you want to talk to Brazil? Then come here, and you have a mini session for Brazil. And several people agreed and came over and talked to the Brazilian participants exclusively. And this year, ITC offered us the possibility of having all of this opportunity for all partners in the world. So I don't even know how many are using it, but we are used to having the pre-conference. We know how important it is. And why do we curate this the sessions? Because we think it's important. We brought Sami in, and we'll be walking through what we have done. And for the platform has a channel for networking. And if you went in through the free ticket, may receive invitations for networking sessions or for meeting sessions one-on-one. And if you got the Community Plus, allows you to invite people one-on-one. It gives you that opportunity, in addition to the opportunity to take part in roundtables, once in a while. So it gives you a little bit more. In addition, it is through the platform that you can visit the expo hall. So it's the exhibition hall in a regular fair. I think it's 200 exhibitors presenting their products, their solutions. And the way that Sammy and I do things, we want to make it easier for you to find out what's, and Sammy agrees with me. I think that visiting the hall is a great way of quickly understanding what's going through. It's a special opportunity to, in a couple of hours, find out which are the most important suppliers, all in the same room. So we encourage you, everyone that is curious, to take advantage of this platform and visit the expo hall. Just go through it, make contacts. Your credential allows you to make special requests or questions or directly contact the representative on each stand, in a virtual stand. So it is a possibility, concrete possibility, to have the ITC experience reverberate on your practice, your work. And I saw a comment by Marcelo Blay, and sorry, he's breaking up a little bit, but he said that he always has, sees physicians and dentists going to conferences. We never had conferences to go to. Visit the US for fun, we do, but this is usually conferences are for doctors and for dentists, but now we do. And what you just heard, Vitor said, I think, that makes sense. Stop for 2.5 days, 3 days to explore what is being done, what is more updated in insurance and marketing. Insurance marketing product is something that is unmissable. Everyone should be going. There's nowhere else that we could go for 2.5 days and have such a refresher event, an opportunity to refresh and update our knowledge. I say, okay, of course I am a Japanese who is curious, but everyone in this market is looking for inspiration and ideas, and this 2.5 days are exactly for that. So it will help you move outside of the box, and I think that all of this helps ITC be an even more important event, and the Brazilian delegation within ITC is very important, and we are committed to doing our best as curators to make this easier and more productive to all of you. Do you want to add anything, Sam? No, I think that's it. This year, as in other years, we have a lot of interesting panels that will lead to a lot of reflection. The trends, what the large corporations are doing in this digital transformation, when we talk about insurtechs and startups. So a lot of interesting stuff to feed on and to feed us, really. So now let's go into the content itself. For that, I would like to start. I don't know how each of you got the information here, but we prepared an Excel spreadsheet in which we translated and organized the program for the ITC. And this is available to all of you. I am sure you've all received it, or I think you did. And to understand what we prepared that, you have 3 time zones. So we have one America's time zone, one Europe, one Middle East, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and one the Pacific, Asia and Pacific. Each schedule follows 1 till 6 in the afternoon on the 19th, 20th, and 21st, each person on their time zone. So we'll be able to watch any if we want, but we have to just be aware of the time zones. The Americas agenda is, the program is more complete. We put all of the panelists, the panels and the panelists on the spreadsheet. And we removed anything that would repeat itself. So we had an additional 20 panels that are exclusive to Europe or the Pacific, another 20. So we removed any repetitions, any duplicates are not included, okay, in the spreadsheet. So that's how we started the organization, the 3 tabs of the spreadsheet. It is all in Portuguese, and Sami will now talk about the plenary sessions. Those are the sessions that will be presented in all of the sessions. As you've probably seen in conferences, it's the keynote speakers, and the plenary sessions are the main sessions that are offered to all participants. And then after the plenary sessions, we have the breakdown into different channels or rooms here. But the plenaries will be reviewed by Sami a little bit further in further detail. I'm going to share my screen then. I think I can't. I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to share my screen. Now I can. Yeah. Great. The plenary sessions have a specific feature in which it... Can you see my presentation, my screen? But it's not in presentation mode. Okay. Perfect, yeah. So the plenary has a specificity because it joins the global corporations and insurance, the unicorns that are coming up and coming. Last year we had Lemonade and a few startups that are on the spotlight. So that's the focal point of the event. And Heitor and I combed through and listed what we think will be more interesting for the Brazilian participants. And I'm going to bring you a few highlights. The first, I think, would be Pingyang, which is the largest in terms of the number of employees, people involved in the system as a whole, in premiums. And it's a very interesting case. The CEO of Ping Yang will talk about how they are building a true insurance ecosystem. So I think it's very interesting to hear this discussion on this ecosystem and how they integrate auto, life, health, home insurance, and solutions for smart cities. The other that we highlight here is Lloyd's. No other than Lloyd's. You know, it's one of the largest and most traditional insurance companies in the world. So they're going to talk about how tradition and legacy sees new trends. What are they doing to keep up and be at the forefront of the new trends? So this will be Lloyd's CEO, and that might be interesting to you. Another one is one of the Israeli unicorns, which is Hypo. It's an insurance which operates in the US, specializing in home insurance, and their value proposition is the issuance of they issue insurance within 60 seconds using intelligent underwriting and all of the structure and non-structured underwriting. So they have more intelligent, smart underwriting, while they offer in smart domestic devices to reduce risk and improve client experience. So I think that's an interesting case. Another one that we highlight here is a prudential case. And although the US is a very mature market, we still have a percentage of the population with low protection or even without protection. And they did the recent acquisition specialized in big data and data science. And both CEOs, the data company and the Prudential CEO, are going to explain how they're using big data to access families that are underinsured or underprotected in the US. And I was really curious about this because this is a similar challenge than what we have in Brazil. This is another company called Metric Stream. I wasn't aware of it, but I looked them up, and they have digital solutions for artificial intelligence for corporate governance and global risk management. So if you're interested in that area, if you want to understand how you can automate and digitize the governance and global risk management in your insurance company, that's an option. Swiss Re is a global leader in reinsurance. Its CEO is going to talk about its strategy with the acquisition of insurtechs and startups. And both Swiss Re and Munich Re have invested quite a bit in insurtechs and startups to add value to their reinsurance contracts. So they'll give us a few examples and cases. This is on cloud. This session will be on the cloud, and the VP, the Microsoft Azure VP is going to talk about how the insurance sector is benefiting for clouds with cloud strategies. So a specialized conversation, how they can benefit. Sami, can you just go back, yeah? The Microsoft Azure case, because I've heard some rumor. A lot of noise and interest about that. I didn't even know about Microsoft Azure as a thing. I didn't know it was a thing. This is a Microsoft company, actually was acquired by Microsoft. It hasn't been long, and it is Microsoft's cloud arm, cloud branch, if you. But didn't they have OneNote? They still have OneNote. And I'm not sure how they incorporated this into their portfolio. That might be something to look up. Just one other thing. I know you've talked a bit, you've moved ahead, but your chart is showing the date and the time of when each panel will take place. Yeah, so this one is on October 20th, to tomorrow at 5 past 5 Brasilia time. And then Chico is here saying on the chat that Azure is a AWS competitor. The Amazon is Amazon what? The W and the S? The clouds, Amazon's cloud system. Is it Amazon Cloud? Amazon Web Services. Thank you, Chico. So Azure competes with AWS. Okay. This Discovery Health case is a case that I've followed for quite some years. It's a health company from South Africa. And the South Africa market is quite an innovative market, so let's keep an eye on it. And Discovery Health is a company that has cases and they have awards for best lifestyle. They have bonus and discounts. They have a benefit club in which you change your points for prizes. And then their presentation is on wearables. And the wearables is a subject that calls a lot of attention from the life and health perspective, and what they're going to use wearables for is to award good better lifestyles and change behavior through the wearables, whether it's through exercise or food, I don't know. So it's a case, if you're in the health area segment, I think it will be very interesting. Bupa is another health insurance case. It's a globalized leader company from the UK, and the CEO will mention the process for transformation of the company into the digital world. So Bupa is a premium product case in the whole world, mainly in Europe and the UK. So how are they dealing and moving towards a digital world? And now to wrap up, Allianz, no other than Allianz, they will talk about their perspectives, or the perspective of the group in a post-pandemic world, and what the group is doing for investment in insurtechs. They have a digital lab, and in that lab, they accelerate and invest in startups and insurtechs, and the CEO will comment on these processes. I think these are the main things, and of course there are several others, but these are the highlights that I would like to talk about here and as leave you as a suggestion for you to keep an eye on. Great, Sammy. I just want to highlight one thing and to add that we were... Are you going to stop sharing? Yeah. So that's for Europe and Americas, but I was really interested because in the Asia plenaries, there's a session on social media by Tencia. Tencia, I'm not aware, but I think it's similar to what Facebook is or Twitter. They say there's 1 billion users. And they'll have a plenary session about the use of this platform to sell insurance. Can you stop share? I'm trying to unshare. Now it worked, yeah. So, so that's the only plenary that I think, or that ended up calling my attention. And you might imagine that to watch Asia's presentations is 11 hours forward. So it's 6 a.m. our, no, 4 a.m. our local time. So it won't be easy to watch, but it's something that caught my eye as I was going through the schedule, the program. And now I'm going to talk about the remaining part of the program and the analysis effort that we had for the panels that ITC is presenting this year. I was going to start by saying that you might have noticed, but this year, because of the digital format, they chose to have shorter presentations. They have presentations, 8-minute long presentation, 10-minute long, 15-minute long, plenary sessions of 15 minutes long. So the guidance this year, and because it's hard to be sitting in front of a computer all day, is to have a quicker sessions with more subjects, but all of them short. And I know that for us it's not easy. And to do all of that and be attentive to time, and you have a 10-minute session, but that's what we have. That's what we've been dealt. And they also included several business cases, and this is what we've seen the most. I think I counted over 40 of this kind of presentation of products. And of course, they are exploring the benefits and what their product offers and how their product can be applied to a client. But for all of you that are looking for solutions, our program is full of that, full of products and solutions that are being presented in a business case and live format type of presentation. That's actually what we have the most. And of course, all other years, that was also a strong track, but to give all of the companies this opportunity, this is the solution they reached, short presentations of this kind. Another thing that I think it's important, and it's the first time I see it, it's the number of panels on life benefits. A few for health, but a lot of life. Maybe because of COVID and the pandemic, there's a lot of that. I counted 15 in America, 1 in Europe, and 4 in Asia. Panels on benefits, specially formatted for life insurance. So if you're in the life business, you have a lot of stuff to watch. And I'm sure that the pandemic brought about several issues. And Sammy presented too, Prudential, which has a partnership with an insurtech, big data insurtech, and the wearables from South Africa. So in the plenaries that he highlighted, there are 2. And there are 20 other panels throughout the program talking about life. A lot about product positioning and repositioning, creation, COVID, death because of the pandemic. And this has, the pandemic has raised that issue. And that is reflected in our program with a high number of cases to deal about that, deal with that. And so in general, we have panels on protection. So how many panels talk about the protection offered by insurance? About this coverage? And I found almost 20. 17 in America, 2 in Europe, and 1 in Asia. talking about protection. So the combination of products, the creation of coverage, the vision for the future. And I'm tempted to see that that has to do with the recent open insurance movement. So there is this new value proposition in the insurance sector that is coming up. So several panels talking about that. So when I say I'm looking at protection panels, it's panels about insurance products. And if you like that subject, there'll be a lot about that too. And we also have distribution as one of the tracks or subjects. We have subjects such as retail or agents, brokers, systems, to all of these. So a lot of distribution panels. I found 15, 8 in America, 3 in Europe, and 4 in Asia. This is a very central topic. There will be a presentation on direct sales. So if you like that subject, you'll have a lot to watch. We are never lacking on this area in this event. We also have InsurTech as a topic of the panels, mainly for financing, for funding, for attraction, for formation, for the combination of incumbents or traditional insurance companies and all of the combinations. And I would even say that InsurTechs have never been so present in the program as this year, both in the business cases, because there are objective cases for applying solutions, and people in the InsurTech industries have a lot of presence. And this format, 5, 10, 8 minutes, should give us some good idea of what is being talked about, but will demand us some further understanding, whether it's an expo hall and the work that we need to do. And this year it seems to be that the ITC is like a catalog for us to be inspired and understand and know.
Same thing applies to InsurTechs here. I think that we have never seen that many showcased in this event. And I mean, this is now the 5th edition of this event, and obviously things have progressed and changed. And I actually said last year that after those initial years in which a lot was said about new technologies and the potential uses of artificial intelligence and machine learning, blockchain, IoT. This is really what was up in the air in the very first years of the ITC. Last year, we had made a few changes to the, say, more central topics discussed during the meeting, which revolved around the application of different technologies and also how these solutions could also, say, coexist. So we had a significant number of other things, and also in terms of what works well, what doesn't work well, when you have all these applications working together. And this year, I believe, much more because of the pandemic and the format of meetings that we can have, in this virtual environment, we went more towards, we saw an increase on the variety and also the number of individuals delivering presentations. However, they will deliver shorter presentations, which might actually be interesting, but this will also require us to search more in detail what we will want to see in this meeting. And I have to inform you, by the way, that this platform was very well thought of. And the idea here is to basically create connections. And any one of the booths there, I mean, they are very much accessible. I mean, you can have one representative there, and through this representative, you can really get in touch with them, talk on a one-to-one basis. So everything that has to do with networking has been significantly simplified in this platform. I would even say that it's better than in the real world, because when you're in the real world, you have to, sometimes overcome your shyness and but now not anymore. I mean, all of that is done digitally, and even we who are here, in our booths, if you will, or in our corners here at the SUQCS, we have a representative there, and we can receive from anyone, requests to call meetings. It's all very much open and free, and it's really easy to do. And you can connect through this platform. So, as I said before, this is something that was really a nice surprise. I had never seen anything like that to, facilitate networking so much. And if you're in search of that, this is a big thing to consider, meaning that you should take the most you can from these days to, try and leverage your business. So I've spoken about an InsurTech, but let me also make it's not criticism, please understand me, but it's basically how things are happening, and I've seen that also happen throughout the years. I was going to talk a little about blockchain. And 2 years ago or so, in a meeting that took place in 2018, and I can remember this still, I think that between panels, if I'm not mistaken, we had actually 8 panels on blockchain throughout the whole meeting. And last year, it's been a year now, and now we have only 2. And then last year we had 2 panels on blockchain, and this year we didn't have any. It's not that blockchain is something that no one is thinking about anymore, but it's a process. I mean, it is something that has to be built, with time, and it takes quite a bit of standardization, a whole series of other things. And I believe that it is still critical, it is still important, it does produce significant benefits that did not exist in the past, and everyone is really looking at those. There's a whole lot of other, qualities in the blockchain process that we cannot deny, but it lives on as a process now. So it was indeed something that everyone was looking at 2 years ago, and now we have to keep an eye on it and see basically how much interest we have in it. And I saw that if you look at the whole program and all 3 continents here, we have no specific meetings in blockchain. So just so, you know it.
Eu fiz aqui, queria olhar.
And I also wanted to, by the way, let me have a look at my schedule here, if I may. Is there anything you'd like to add there, Sammy? Let me actually reinforce, another comment here. To me, one of the most important points about this meeting has been the possibility of walking around on that trade show floor and really talking to startups and, talking to the folks with booths there. This is really something you can't miss.
Dizer que, para nós
And we should also say that, for us here, Brazilians, we would always start with the same question. Are you interested in doing business in Brazil? Right? Because sometimes, we might get excited about things and people will just, give us a cold shower instead. Yeah, but in each 10 visits, one or 2 would say no, but most, to tell the truth, most of them were very much open to doing business here in Brazil. Oh, sorry about that. I was going to, say that we have a limited number, but anyhow, I saw that we have 11 talks in the American schedule here, and they are about new technologies. So under new technologies, you have AI, you also have everything that has been, seen as new stuff, which might not be as, that new, but still IoT, data analytics, and, the analytics you need behind those systems, and also drones and satellite communication, everything that we're calling here new forms or new ways of obtaining, collecting data, they were all included here. And I looked at it and I saw that we have 11 meetings about that here for the Americas. And in these meetings, they will discuss these new technologies. I mean, not always will these technologies be, I think that we have fewer of them actually this year. And I think the schedule was, say, more limited in this area, maybe because those uses have now become more consolidated. But still, this is, novelty to us.
Muito bem. O que eu ia fazer? Eu ia olhar
Okay, so let me see here if there's any special thing that I still have to mention. If you just let me have a look at my notes here. Oh, yes. I was going to talk a little about the COVID situation. If you look this spreadsheet up, and if you use COVID as if you search for the word COVID, in addition, obviously, to changes in the way we work and working from home, there's also a lot about risk perception. And we've been speaking about the number of people who are dying of this disease every day. So we're going through a moment in which a lot is said about risk. So I think there is one special element this year because this is a recent topic. And it also inspired, if you will, the program of this meeting. I mean, be it for good, for better or worse. So anyone looking at references, looking for references about that, yeah, well, you should, because you will find it there. Well, I guess this is it. Sammy, anything else you would like to say there on your end? Because, I mean, speaking about, everyone saw here in the program that we have these companies here, right? The companies represented in all of these panels that we're having. I think it might be worthwhile going through the best known and maybe those who are not so well known to see basically who's bringing that information to us. Anything there, Sami? Yes, and we are always available, by the way, should you have any additional questions or maybe suggestions or recommendations. If you need any help, we're here to do that for you. Yes, and let me remind you again that the agenda for the Americas and everything that is published here is based on the local time, right? From the place at which those presentations will be delivered. So in the Americas, it's basically East time, East Coast Standard Time. We are actually there's a 1 hour difference here when you look at the Brazilian time, also Central Europe time, and here we are 5 hours behind them, right? Yeah, actually, there's a 4 hour difference, actually, not 5. It's a 4 hour difference. We're 4 hours behind them. So you have to do the math to see when those presentations will be delivered, and you have to be quick at that because those presentations are short, and again, it's a 4 hour difference when you look at Europe. And also Asia, that's going to be a tougher one. They are 11 hours. I mean, we're 11 hours behind them. So when it's 3 p.m. there, that'll be like, I mean, when it's yeah, it'll be from like 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning here. So it's not going to be easy if you want to watch these presentations. And as I said, I mean, given the fact that the presentations are short, you have to really pay attention to your watch. Asia, they have a lot of interesting stuff there in their meetings. And we're not so much used, for instance, to have people, talking about insurance in Pakistan. So there's interesting things here and things that are not actually that ordinary and that may actually inspire us to do new things. Actually, still about inspiration. Let me make a comment about that. We don't have that in the program, but you can see it nonetheless on the ITC website. You have all the demos and also all the presentations on InsurTech. All the pitches are there. I ended up not listing any of that because, but again, and the way we wanted to do it, we wish we had the time to really go through each one of those InsurTechs to give you some more, say, consistent information, more relevant information. But since this was not possible because we simply didn't have the time to do it, we preferred not to include it. But again, you have a whole world of InsurTechs who are always inspiring when you look at the solutions they are presenting. So here, you have all types of InsurTechs in all continents, fewer of them actually delivering presentations. But in addition to InsurTechs, we have another interesting group here of products and solutions which are not on the schedule. It's basically an on-demand thing, and you can look it up if you want to have access to those bits of information as well. As I said in the beginning, 2.5 days of a lot of inspirational content of all types. It's actually hard for you to, set some time aside to see everything. I mean, we're going to try and do our most to really have, a bird's eye view of what's happening there and what we're planning to do. We don't have a deadline to do that, but the idea is to try and offer everyone still this year, differently from what we did in the past years, what we are calling here a post-ITC meeting to see if we can, in a way, wrap things up, summarize things and offer you an overview of what happened during the meetings. And those of you who were there actually in person and who have been there for years now, you know that one of the things that CQCS and ITC Experience offer here, or there are the wrap-up sessions, which is our daily meetings at the end of the day, in which we basically go over the panels that everyone attended and to try to, in a way, translate that into Brazilian reality. And it's usually a most productive discussion and a very inspiring one as well. And it's really there, at the end of the day, when we still have things on the back of our minds, and then we discuss everything that was discussed in the plenary sessions, and we actually have a plenary session ourselves, Brazilians, and we see how things can be, put to use here in Brazil. And usually those, rounds are quite interesting. We're not going to be able to do it this year, though. I mean, we thought about a possibility of maybe doing something slightly different, and we're still thinking about how we're going to get it done to see if we can have maybe a post-ITC meeting to share the new stuff with everyone. So that's what we're thinking right now. So anything else there, Sammy?
Correct. Dial-in number.
Opa.
You are in the right room.
Da minha parte, ok.
Gustavo, se você quiser pegar de já, você pode.
Gustavo, if you want to, take it from there, go ahead.
Opa, deixa eu dar abraço em vocês dois.
Okay, Victor. So, hello there, everyone.
Salve, Beto.
Hello, Beto. Sammy, nice to see you. I mean, I hadn't seen you in a while. I mean, I'm really missing you, man. So, been doing a beautiful job there.
O que eu acho que
Okay, so, Heitor, what I would like to say to you, and actually to the two of you who aren't here with us, is,
os dois primeiros
I mean,
painéis.
have you stopped? I mean, have you stopped and looked at how much people talked about, the curator job that you did here? Yeah, a lot has been said about that. So, you've really developed a product here, because you guys are really careful and good at that, and this really helps us make sense of the ITC. And, because my job here, in a way, is to dream. So I'm kind of like, the dreamer here. I'm nuts sometimes, and, so I'm really about, building roads and getting people together, building bridges as well. So my dream is that someday the ITC will understand that this is something that has to be developed
Em vários países.
in a number of different countries, so that we can try and replicate it elsewhere as well. And
O que eu queria era que vocês.
what I wanted you guys to do is to wrap this talk here, and speaking a little about the relevance of what you're saying here. I mean, because I have to say that because you really have helped people do a better job. And as you do that, you are people who are here. So what you have to have in mind is that this is something that can be replicated. So my dream is having the ITC experience,
Europa,
as to have it here, to have in Europe, to have in Argentina, and then the trade show will be much better utilized. Because why are we the largest delegation? Well, we are probably, if you don't count, Americans, the ITC has the strongest presence probably here in Brazil, but it's not because, we have those T-shirts here, right? I mean, and we do much more than just that, evidently. And it's all because we have participants who take the most of that meeting. And I think that this meeting that we're having here is a most relevant one. We are building here our pre-conference meeting, and you did a beautiful job, curating the content from the presentations that will be delivered. You looked into the data in a format that would make it easier for everyone to see what we're going to see there. And I mean, and you have my eternal gratitude, because this is really history in the making here. You know, and this is a recorded meeting, by the way, in both languages, English and Portuguese, because we're going to ask the ITC for their authorization to also share the ITC experiences for those who want to watch the Brazilian pre-conference meetings in two languages. We're going to edit everything. I mean, whatever is said in English here, we'll obviously, you know, have simultaneous interpretation. And whenever we speak Portuguese, I also have, you know, the interpreters translating for us. So we're going to sort of, you know, have it shown elsewhere, because the content that we're discussing here is extremely relevant. So thank you so very much, the two of you. It's been really great to have you here. And I really wanted to know that I feel extremely safe when I see you guys around taking care of stuff, because I know that we only have really the best, the black belts, if you will. And whatever I can do to, you know, to help you, I will. Well, everything for us, you know, everything for a better market.